What's up, everybody? Gonna get this thing kicked off. Trying to do something a little different. I took a longer lunch, so we're gonna see if this gonna work Thursday at 2. Let's see. I'm checking the back end, make sure it's coming up. I see me. Ooh, I gotta go on a diet. Shout out to Amanda. I gotta get my fitness going on, man. I know she's putting in big things. So
That's
again, it's
right.
Professor Black Ops kicking off with a good friend of mine. Going to talk a little bit about project management. We always talk about that's non-technical, but keeping the technical guys in line. So I'm gonna have her kick it off with a little bit about her background. How you doing, Amanda?
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been a project manager for going on 12 years and try to keep the technical folks in line, but through a partnership, of course, because they're delivering for me. Um, Thank you. I came from small town Indiana, just like most people who are here, born and raised, and went from preschool to grad school, took a year off along the way, and managed to find my way into project management.
That's cool. What's up, Style Docs? I'm glad you could join us.
Hey there.
So, what's your master's degree? I guess I didn't know you had a master's degree as long as I've known you. I guess we never really
Yeah,
talked about your educational background.
sure. So I have an MBA. My undergrad is in human resource management. And I chose that because I really like psychology, and human resource management's like the psychology of people at work. So that was interesting. Continued with my MBA and PMP certified. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Yeah, you see, what's up, Hell? I'm glad you can join us. We talking about that PMP life, man. You know, they bossing everybody around. We'll talk about that. Amanda used to try to boss me around, but we'll get into that.
I
Glad you
mean,
could
my
join
approach is always tell me no. Tell me no. I'm going to give you
us.
business case. I'm going to give you the value. You tell me no.
No, facts. You know, you was always fair. I enjoy. Shout
Thank
out
you.
to him and always join us. One of my 10 I was told you was gonna follow on in there. Welcome to your guest, Professor. No, that's true. Your undergrad was in HR.
It is, yeah.
So do you think that's close? You think that was a big leap from HR to PM, or you think that was kind of a natural progression? And why didn't you continue in the HR?
Well, I can't, my master's is in business, right? So it
Mhm.
was kind of an evolution. I just expanded my focus into business as a whole. So I didn't actually use my HR degree in an HR position. I kind of went straight through to grad school, but I started in social services, interestingly enough, working with people with dual diagnosis.
That's wow. Let me say this correctly. Shout out to self. They don't make any money though. They work hard, and it could get a little, I wouldn't say crazy, but a little dramatic in there. So,
Mhm.
what made you switch from social again back to HR and then to project management? Was it the money you didn't like it, or why didn't you stay on
Sure.
that path?
Sure. So that wasn't, I kind of went back and forth for a long time about whether I wanted to be a teacher, a journalist, a psychologist. And I really do believe the world is your oyster. So I ended up in a position when I graduated with my MBA with the state of Indiana at a local tax office. And then I got the opportunity to work in paper processing and learn more about imaging systems. So that's when I really uh, figured figured out or was introduced to the creativity of IT. It's solution based. You're always problem solving, and if I get to the root of my passion, it's connecting people and solving problems. So a PMO was stood up. I was asked to join it, and then I really learned along the way. I started as a business systems consultant, so business analyst, and then project manager, both at a state tax revenue office, and then transitioned to state infrastructure projects, and served as a PMO director. And then as right before I transitioned into healthcare, I supported a full system replacement. And that was just incredible. The opportunity to roll my sleeves up and really just learn along the way of that full data conversion and standing up systems. I implemented over 100 APIs. So most PMs are not technical, but I consider myself pretty technical along the way.
No, I agree with that. We work together now. I can see
Mhm.
you grow technology wise. I've watched you grow. Now I've seen you grow technical, and that's what
Yeah.
I tease a lot of guys too. And I tell them PM is definitely a legitimate career. You make decent money at it. And two, if you bring a
Mhm.
technical side with that, a lot of especially if you're in a technical organization, a lot of the project management is the technical items you have to get done or push to get done, or like we say, sometimes negotiate between us and you as far as the PM to get that done. And a lot of times that run, and we get into that, how that runs up into actually the CIO, the architect. Sometimes there's trade-offs in there. So, and we were getting into that, like how did you get into the IT field? You think you're going to stay in the IT field of PM, or just take that skills and just kind of move around into PM work?
I'm not sure yet. I don't want to limit myself to a role. I know people talk about what's your goal role, and really for me it's more about knowing my purpose, aligning myself to an organization that has similar values, um and being able to connect, influence, and solve problems. So I can do that in any role. I've certainly exercise that significantly as a project manager. Like we talked about, negotiate, barter, um, and that's where your soft skills come in, really, that can take it to the next step.
Yeah, how, and that's not even our question. What's your thoughts on soft skills? I always get on my young IT guys. You got to be able to communicate with soft skills and kind of
Mhm.
get that to the next level. So, what's your thoughts on soft skills?
Yeah,
Or I
soft
guess that's
skills.
part of a PM role.
It is, yeah. Soft skills make the magic happen, right? You can set
Mhm.
in front of anyone a plan and the logistics of how to execute that plan, but you really need soft skills to make the magic happen. And what I mean by that is you need vulnerability and authenticity to create trust. Organizational trust takes, I mean, that's where the magic happens, because you get people in a room, you can break down their walls because they know that you're genuine, and you get to see the talent and knowledge that you hired them for.
Mhm.
There's so much emotion and fear, and that soft skills can speak to, and it can help lower those walls so that you get what you need. I hired you for a reason. I need you to perform and help solve this problem. I can't do it by myself, and no one can. It takes all of us. So I think soft skills, it can make or break an organization.
Mhm.
That's where trust comes in, and it truly is where the magic happens.
Oh, that's true, but everybody does it little differently. My big homie Bond gonna come on. He did his a little differently than
Mhm.
everybody else. So everybody has their own, I guess, say technique and how they deal
Mhm.
with people with soft skills. So what would you say your magic is? I tell people, you see me, man. I try to be a little funny, a little ha ha. Then I got to be the big bad security, but tell them I like them too. So what would
Mhm.
you think would be your balance in that, when like you said, when you deal with people on the soft skills scale?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I do think every project manager has their flavor, just
Yeah.
like security.
Emily's with the big bad. I'm gonna put her out. Emily be coming with the big bad, but go ahead.
Yeah, she's incredible. Definitely one of the best mentors I've ever had. Emily Wan, shout out to you. Um, I I think I try to just kind of be authentic. I do try to be funny. My humor is normally like mom humor, if you will. It's like I could never do stand up, keep my day job, but I get a laugh, I get a chuckle because it's a dumb joke. And I'll take
Yeah.
it. It's For me, managing projects is about relationship building.
Mhm.
If we have an established relationship, um I have capital with you, right? I have relationship capital. And so I'm going to spend time building that, and then I'm going to come and take debits from it as I
Mhm.
need things. But I'm always going to come back to that connection, because everyone has priorities, right? Especially as a project manager, I'm not your boss. I don't do your performance evaluation. There is no money for you. I have no money tie at all. So it's extremely important when everyone is coming to my resources with their priority, that my item stays on the list. And I have been successful by building relationships.
No, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. And true is, I'm a security channel and I try to tell people, young security guys think security is the trump card. I'm like, no, it's business and the money. we just want part of it. I mean, we've been in meetings where people go, yeah, we're gonna worry about that security piece later.
Right.
We gotta get this finished, right? So as
That's
part
right.
of security, right? Once again, like you, I got so much bandwidth can use and so much capital. Now I can always throw on there like this is a requirement. If we don't do it, then we can get shut down, right? I can go with that scare tactic sometime, but
Mhm.
security is just one piece in a myriad of things a project managers has to consider. Now, I think security's higher now with the hacks and you could lose money, but it's just one thing on a PM's plate.
Mhm. It's an
So
important thing on the list.
thanks. Shout out to me for PBO's channel.
Well,
Nah,
as
but
influenced by another mentor, Professor Black Ops.
yeah, but like I like to tell people though, we just want a mini and depending on, and I probably have Kevin on and have him speak to it. You're right there too, and I think the CIO gives you a lot of things what is on his plate and the priority they should be done. Right, a lot of times I
Mhm.
come in with my blinders on. Oh, security's number one. That's incorrect sometimes. So can you talk about driving the CIO's priorities from a PM perspective?
Absolutely. So, CIO drives IT vision, infrastructure, strategy, things like that. And then you have your business on the other side too. And it's a balance. So, driving priorities that, I mean, I used to partner with Kevin to make sure that we met goals. We delivered projects on time. I have so much respect for him. I've learned a lot from him. He is the king of people connector,
Oh my God.
people connecting. I mean, really, I took so many things away from him. But
Hey, shout out.
I think it's all about how you deliver the message, right? What's the
Oh,
business value? So I understand this is what you need. Your It's also knowing like when is a business owner getting into solutioning, right?
oh yeah.
I understand your vision. Let me understand, what does this need? Alphanumeric characters and
Mhm.
all of those things. I understand your requirements. Let me make sure I understand your full vision so I can get acceptance from you on the backside, right? But as far as the actual solution, I need that driven by my security folks, by my infrastructure folks, by my CIO that tells me this is how we're going to build and maintain an infrastructure so that our operational costs make sense, so that our security risk is minimized. So I think at the end of the day, it's all about understanding the vision and how you deliver and communicate the message and the value.
No, that's true. And I think like, and I'm still bad about that in my age. I'm just so technology focused because that's what I grow up in and I get excited. But like you said, sometimes you can't do that because that's gonna be an extra $100,000, right? It's not in the budget,
That's why
right?
everyone's budgets are limited.
Right. It's easy for me to spend not my money, right? Right. So
Right.
so I think,
Understand. Well,
yeah,
you're
and
a dreamer. I mean, really, that's part of it too. You talk about, what do you want to do in the future, being a project manager? You have to have dreams. And you got to keep dreaming. You can't
mm,
stop. So there's so much value in that.
no, that's true. So what's the difference between a PM and a business analyst? I think I kind of lump those two together. What?
Sure. So, a PM, let me start with a BA because I love
Okay.
that role. I did it for a long time. Um, a BA gets to dig into the weeds. This is a career for somebody who likes to ask why and keep asking why until they can see it, they can vision it themselves. It's somebody who likes to connect dots, and that's on the PM side as well, which I think is why you see a lot of people transition from a business analyst to a project manager. A project manager, in my opinion, has more requirements for like relationship building. You're kind of on the front of things. You're the face of the project. You should always know what current status is, what are the risks, where all the activities are that you're managing to all the tasks. A BA gets to do a lot more documentation, and they get to be a lot more focused and deep dive. And I really appreciate both roles. I've had a lot of fun in both of them.
So you think a BA is a natural transition into a PM, or you think they're different? I always think of BA, then when you grow up, you be a PM. But what's your thought patterns on that?
No,
This is-
I don't. I would say if that's the path that you want, it gives you an opportunity to work with a PM and get more insight into project life cycle,
Mhm.
because you're really partnering closely together to deliver a project. But it's not a natural transition per se, because there are many personality types that want to just do the deep dive. They want to dig in and pull through the weeds and go down the rabbit hole and figure things out and map it, but their interpersonal skills, they'd rather not interact, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, that's not true across the board, but I'm just saying, if you're more comfortable doing documentation and figuring things out at that level more one-on-one, then a BA might be the best role for you. But if you're comfortable, I mean, I think of it as a performance. I don't know how else to describe it, but
Mhm.
when I'm leading a meeting, I'm facilitating meetings, I'm performing. Like, I'm
Mhm.
performing my job. And so I take that very seriously. It's my job to come in with a good attitude, to be
Mhm.
focused, to prepare the meeting agenda in advance, put it all in the invite so that regardless of what interaction I've had with you on a project, everyone starts at the same place. That helps conversations or discussions gain traction. And that is one of the Amanda Lee PM 101 things that I do and recommend, and I'll do that forever because I've spent so much time spinning wheels in meetings and
Mhm.
not getting what I needed because people weren't on the same page. There were side conversations. So as long as I'm pulled into all of those, I will start at the beginning. Let me give you a recap of where we
Mhm.
are, and now we're going to roll into the objective of why we're here today.
No, I've been in meetings. You run an excellent meeting. Shout out to you. Your meetings are excellent, and she's
Thank you.
actually got on PBO. No side conversation. PBO. We got to focus. My bad. My bad. But two is, and this is on there too, is I see you doing excellent. Sometimes, and I'm gonna put his name out. He's coming on the channel, Jeff. He could be a little feisty in those meetings, and people get a little terse. I'm trying to use the proper word. So, how do you handle those difficult, difficult people? Jeff being one of them. How do you handle those people? I always tell Jeff I have to babysit him because I know he's gonna be a problem. But how do you handle special? And I'm sure I'm one of your special people because I can get on security and I can just start hammering on certain compliances, and we need to focus on a bigger thing. So, how do you handle difficult or strenuous personalities? With me being one of them, so I just throw that out
Sure. Yeah, some secrets I don't tell, we don't
there.
speak about. But I've been partnered with challenging personalities many times to kind of do good cop, bad cop. So, like, kind of, it's kind of empowering for me to be partnered with someone that has a strong personality because they're passionate. They just don't know how to. I know, and you saw Style Docs that I walked right back from that because I still have lunch with Jeff.
We going to
um,
lunch too. Go ahead. Me and Jeff
but
going to lunch.
I really I appreciate passion,
Oh,
and it
fast.
goes back to, and I think that's another key trait that you have to have as a PM is you have to understand why someone's communicating a message a certain way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Are they
mm-hmm.
frustrated? Have they already had multiple conversations about this, and they're not the message they're communicating is falling on deaf ears. They're not being effective in how they're delivering the message. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to partner with whoever we're trying to barter with to to enhance the message, to deliver it in a new way,
Mm-hmm.
to talk about the business value. And here's the business value for me, but here's the business value for you. This is what you get out of this decision. And then at the end of the day, it's their choice. I mean,
Right,
always I can escalate, right, if it's not the right
right,
choice, but I think
right.
it's always about doing what's right. You have to always do right by your organization.
Yeah, and it's too in style stock. Shout out to that. I'm gonna highlight that again. Is I'm right there with Jeff a lot of times. Is I get so passionate about security, sometimes I forget about the business values of that because sometimes the way people say it, I'm from the hood, I take it personal. So they start elevating, I start elevating. And man, like, all right, everybody calm down. I'll be like, I ain't scared of you. But, so,
Right.
so two is I'm bad about that because I'm very passionate about my security domain. And
That's right.
sometimes when
Yes,
I
you
feel like people getting out of pocket, I ain't taking that today. So I have to escalate. So Amanda's job is to get everybody to calm down because PBO ain't no punk. So, I go there sometime. Her job is to smooth everything in. You raise your voice, I'm going to raise my voice. I'm about that life, player. I'm not scared. So her job is,
You can be, yes.
hey, I tell people, hey, I don't like your tone, sir.
Mhm.
We can escalate it. I don't care. But no, she's right. And too, as I get older, I'm like, okay, it's not personal. Everybody should be going for the same goals. But sometimes I don't like your tone and I'm having a bad day. So, right. So then
You're right,
Amanda's
though.
got to smooth that out. Go ahead, Amanda.
That's
Amanda got
right.
to smooth that out.
Yeah, my job is to diffuse, right? I diffuse, bring down the walls, let's partner together. And what you said is critical. It's so easy to forget we're on the same team, right? You're
Facts.
my customer, I'm delivering for you. We want the same thing for our organization. We just need to remember that. And things can get heated, but yeah,
I've been in
you know,
some
it goes back to my purpose.
we've been in some heated we've been in a few heated
Uh-huh.
conversations. Not me and you, we were in the room, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
been a yeah. Shout out, put your questions in the chat box if y'all got any. We chopping it up, talking about that PM life today, little BA life. We always talked about that's a hidden domain to get the bag. You don't have to be super technical, but you have to be organized. And you got to be able to take the heat because PBO be getting a little excited some days in these meetings, man. Like you get excited. So if somebody was trying to get into IT/PM, the debate, the debate in there's degrees, certs, you like me's or both. We got boot camps now, so there's a ton of different ways to get into the PM game. I tell people it depends on your age, what you're trying to do. You could do certs, get into it, let your job pay for it.
Mhm.
I'm a degree guy because I'm old. Sometimes I don't think the degree now gives you the ROI on certain jobs depending on what you're doing.
Sure.
So what's your take on that?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways. One, I think if you ask any IT person, they're going to say help desk experience. That is the way to get into IT. It gives you
Mm-hmm.
exposure into IT organizations that you wouldn't get otherwise as part of your day in, day out job. For a
Mm-hmm.
PM, there's really two ways, right? One is transitioning from the business. This is how most people become project managers. If you want to transition, the best way you can do that and get experience is to offer to take notes in meetings. No, just kidding. That's what we would do. It's actually to volunteer to be a tester. So that is, those standard business responsibilities that
Okay.
you can step up. It gives you insight into the testing process, into a requirements, user story test matrix, the documentation and deliverables that PMs do. And it gives you insight into, that testing cycle, test, defects are found, communicate those out, track them, put a new release out, and then do a retest, another cycle of testing. So I think that's a great way. I know a lot of people have transitioned into project management from serving on project teams, like being testers and volunteering to attend requirements discovery sessions. Pay attention to the questions that a BA or PM is asking. They're trying to drive the conversation a certain way so they can
Mm-hmm.
get what they need to go back and translate that to IT and get you what you need.
Yeah, and
So you asked me degrees though, or certs. So I told you I have an MBA, PMP certified. I do have friends that just have a PMP, and I don't say just because that test is hard.
we
It
getting
is
into
so
that next. We getting into
yeah.
that next.
Okay, I'll save that. So I do have friends that colleagues that only have a PMP. Here's what they find. It's going to be a slower move. So you can move up through the ranks, project coordinator, PM1, PM2, PM3, or senior PM. It's going to take a little bit longer. to move up through the ranks. And then some organizations, you won't even get through their door.
That's why I tell people it's a
Several,
gatekeeper. It's a gatekeeper. Go
absolutely,
ahead.
you won't get through their algorithm.
Right.
People are not looking at those resumes. They're going through algorithms
Mhm.
written by people who don't even work at that organization sometimes. There's a
Right.
documentary on Netflix about that, by the way. Very
Facts. Facts.
good. So yeah, definitely recommend a degree. Now you can even get a degree specifically in project management. That
Mhm.
wasn't around. I think that was
Facts.
just coming out 15 years ago when I came out of grad school.
Facts. Facts. Can you speak to the project coordinator I got on the screen? I think I've only worked with one of them in my 30 years. I think I had one at when I was at DOD. Did we have a project coordinator? Was that part of your PM work and or is that
Some places have a project coordinator or a position called like a PM1 or
okay?
junior PM. And normally those roles are great for transition. You can get your foot in the door. They'll partner you with a mentor.
Okay.
A
Okay.
good organization will, and that'll help you find success. And then it's a natural progression as you build your career. But I do see a question about, what made me get my PM cert for my career.
Hey, don't be
You
skipping forward. That's my
Okay,
job. Don't be.
okay.
I'm reading that whole slide. I'm
Sorry,
reading that.
I like to manage. I like to listen to
It's
my own
all
meetings,
good.
so I'll
Let me
take
read it.
over.
Let me read it real quick. What's going
Okay.
on in your mental world that had you say yourself, I'm going to be PMP cert for my career? This is because it sounds as though you had a degree in professional success. So I guess the
Mhm.
PMP cert, I mean, so yeah, just ask, go ahead and elaborate on that question.
Sure. So, a PMP gives you legitimacy. It
Facts.
helps you arrive to the table and uh, people recognize it. It is the primary certification in the US for project managers. So, I wanted that additional legitimacy. I was transitioning. I got it, I don't know, 3 or 4 years into being a project manager. Um, and I would do it again. For me, I always want to take things to the next level. So I'm working on a healthcare sort of certification right now.
Mhm.
One thing I learned is you're born without beliefs, right? So those self-limiting beliefs that you have, you learned those, and those can be unlearned. So you just have to decide, like, I'm just going to keep taking it to the next level, whatever that is, and I'll
Facts.
decide when I'm done, and I can move that line at any time.
Facts, facts. And two, that's why I get searched sometimes because even though I've been in this game, it gives you legitimacy, and sometimes too is it gives you extra validation in the niche you're going in. Like I've been doing a little cloud stuff with
Mhm.
AWS because, like you said, I'm trying to get validated in that niche. So that cert kind of does that for you. So
Yep, there's also those, LinkedIn learning courses. I have
Mhm.
something out there, a course I took on REST APIs.
Okay,
It
okay.
just gives you that legitimacy. For the PMP cert too, I'll say it really was just a deep dive through all the processes that are established project lifecycle, and it did help me really refine my skills. So
Mhm.
it's certainly well worth it for me.
How hard is it? I heard it's super hard. So
I have no words for how hard it is. Well, for one, it's written in universal language or universal English, I'm sorry. And that's hard. It's hard to even understand where sometimes where what that question is trying to get to with the answers. So it's hard. I highly recommend a boot camp. You almost will not pass it without a boot camp. I mean,
wow.
I did a full week boot camp, made flashcards, studied hard, and still failed the first time and went right back in. And that is very common.
Okay, yeah, I guess I've heard it was hard. Like I said, I've never even thought about that to be honest. There's so many things I haven't looked at, but I know it's like you said, the preeminent project management is the PMP cert.
Yep.
So other question is, how do you keep your PMP skills up? Do you have continuing ed as part of your PMP cert? Some of my certifications I gotta have continuing ed. So does the PMP cert have continuing ed in it?
Yeah, it does. I think it's a 3-year cycle. It's one I will never miss, so I don't ever have to take that test again. There's projectmanagement.com is what I used to use, and now it's a part of PMI. So you can actually take free courses on there. So I just use free resources, honestly. It's very rare that I'm spending any money to get a PDU.
Yeah, there's so many free ones right here. So let's see what my man Hillman's talking about. So is this where soft skills and navigating the space come in? Jobs coming up, networking with folks already inside. So so yeah, so most of the jobs I've gotten in the last forever was is somebody reached out that I knew inside the company. When I came to where we worked out, the CIO knew me and brought me. So for me, my connections with my soft skills, we were just talking about LinkedIn, staying in touch with people that are moving around. So that's how I use my soft skills to know what jobs are coming up in the networking and to get a job. So what's your thoughts on that, Amanda?
Yeah, besides the job I have now, almost every other job someone contacted me for once I got started and it was established. Um, I hate networking. It's just not authentic for me. It
Okay.
so I think it's not something that I do. If I have lunch with you, it's because we had a relationship, some form of connection, working connection, and I care about you and I want to know what's going on with you, or I think you're interesting. We have good conversation. I want to be there to support you for whatever you're going through. And so I don't do networking. It's like small talk for me. I have no time for
Yeah.
that. Like, it's just not genuine and it's not authentic and I can't do it.
I'm a
Sorry.
I'm a small talk king. You see me at work, man. I can small
You
talk.
are, you might be a little bit of my convert, but through small talk, we became friends and
Oh,
we're here
facts,
now.
facts,
So
facts, facts.
yeah,
You
and
see
I
me.
would call on you for sure if I
Oh,
found out
facts,
about an opportunity. So
facts, facts. I be smile talking it up, man. I'm that.
nope.
So let's see. Going through these few questions. Great answer. Understand. Can you glad to know the professional. He's talking about LinkedIn Learning was on there that you recommended.
Yeah, there's
Salute
a
to
lot of.
Wally. Thanks for joining. Shout out to my man, Struggle Security. He's about that PM life. He's in that director seat, so he's all about that project management life. Shout out to the $10 super chat. Oh, did I highlight it? Or did I miss it? Oh, there it is. Shout out to the $10 super chat. Is PM certification a prerequisite for a FANG role like TMP, or I don't even know what TPM or PMs are. So if you're trying to do project management work at Facebook or that, I don't know if you got connections to that. Would you need a PM certification to get at one of those bigger companies?
Most of the time they prefer it. You'll see it preferred. I mean, ultimately interviews are about connection. So if you've done the work, if you can sell your experience and your commitment to an organization, people are just looking for an employee to show up and be engaged and bring their talent, their unique talent and skills and abilities. So those credentials are important, but I've seen people hired, with no credentials if they could connect well.
He actually works for a large Big Four consulting company. Where I worked at, we never separated them. We had our project managers. I don't. Did we have technical project managers when we worked together? It was just PM all together, right?
Oh, what were you talking? You're talking to
Me, I'm
me.
sorry. Yeah, I'm moving around. I just highlighted on the screen. Did we have technical project managers? I think we just had project managers.
No,
Did we separate them?
not really. I know that's not true. It depends on when you look at the organization. Yes, we did have a technical PM. I think
Oh, you're
that
right.
supported some processing stuff. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. So yeah, because usually when we did them, you're right. I take that back. We had one technical that was kind of on the technical side, and we had one on the business side where most of the PMO office that was ran was the project manager.
Hmm.
Let me see. Let me see what my man Styles got in here. What are some things you notice technical professionals who aren't managers can improve on to make their project manager positions easier as we have to work together?
Yeah. I think just being open-minded, being a good listener,
Yeah.
right? Um, there have been some challenging personalities, of course. You have a mix of everyone, right? When you work
Facts,
in an
facts.
organization. So
Mhm.
the times where I've had the most challenging experiences have been where people are just locked in. They will not be moved. They don't care. Here's a list of my 500 other priorities and why I can't help you. And that's why I said soft skills are critical, because I've worked with those people and I've been able to partner with them to deliver for my customers. And um but they also know I'm not going away. I'm
No.
not going away. I'm here and you're gonna have to tell me no, that you can't do it. And then I'll work my process. I'll
Right.
escalate, I'll partner with you. What else do you have on your plate that can be transition to somebody else? Can we take a look at the priorities and timelines? What's delivering the most value of what's on your plate? Is there an opportunity where you could train somebody to do it, or a stretch goal for somebody?
Mhm.
There's ways to get around it.
Yeah, and from my part of view, the technical side of that is I think technical people, and we talked about that, is working on your soft skills, especially shout out to Gabe, struggle security. And as you move up the ladder, you got to be able to communicate with project management because really her job and whoever their job is to get to the end goal. To be
Mhm,
honest, she's managing a project. Security is just a resource or a domain in that whole thing. So moving up the chain is that I got which is easy for me because I take man, my plate's full. What do you want me to take off? Just talk to
mhm.
let me know. My plate's full. Something's got to come out. You tell me what management don't want me to do. Right. So I put
Right.
it on her. And she's more than happy to do that. So
I
then
am,
I
and we've been in those
yeah,
conversations a few times where I've had to go to the CIO and
yeah.
say, "Here's what I need delivered, and here's the value and the timeline and the risk of not doing this. I'm not sure what else is on the plate
Mhm.
on John's, plate, but can I get a resource? I need a resource."
Right.
And he's worked with your director to understand what's assigned to you and shifted things if needed, if that made sense for the organization.
Right. And shout out once again to my man Struggle Security. They're in that upper management there, and at least that's their role. I'm happy with my role. I'm
Mhm.
usually a technical resource. I get paid well. I don't care what you want me to do. You just got to tell me. So as I get older, I don't even fight that. What do you want me to do? Something's got to come off. I'm an easy
Right.
guy to work with. This is my
You
thing.
are, and you've said that to me so many
Yeah,
times. Like, you
yeah.
just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah, do I? This is my plate is full. Get with me.
Mhm.
What order? I always tell them what order you want me to eat it in. I'm a cool guy, right? But two is as a technical resources. Sometimes don't get stuck on a technical thing because remember it's a business and about making money, right? So
Mhm.
part of that, right, is getting the job done, technical security. But at the end, if we ain't making money, ain't nobody getting the bag, ain't nobody getting paid. So
That's
as I
right.
get older, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Right? It's simple. I don't need to argue. Just pick it, right? So then I think technically, and we talk about that soft skills, and that's part of business, understanding the business too, right?
Mhm.
Even though I'm security, I understand there's a product needs to get done. There's trade-off. This security might cost 100,000. What can I recommend that's cheaper that we can get done quicker, and we could do that next fiscal year when we got some money, right?
That's right.
So those are some of the trade-offs, and I think as you get to in technical and you start moving up the ladder, right? Those are the things you start understanding. Even though I love the beauty of technology and I think this is the best database and this is the best technique, sometimes it's just not time, money, and will it fit, right? I always
That's
into
right.
that. So I think that's from a technical standpoint. I think that's what the technology side of the house could do. So the other one, and you kind of touched on it. Do you need specific domain knowledge in business? Since you're in healthcare, do you need to be a HIPAA expert or a tax expert or this expert? Or do you think if you got general PM skills, you can learn those different domain skills, to help you manage the project?
Sure. So it's helpful if you have domain knowledge or business knowledge, you understand the business model. But what's really key is the ability to connect and problem solve. So
Right.
You can get there. You don't need domain knowledge. You don't need business knowledge. What you need is an overall understanding of, you don't need deep business knowledge. You need an understanding of the business model. How does I transition to healthcare? How does a healthcare organization operate? What are their statistics? How many hospitals, ambulatory clinics, uh, payer sources are out there? You need to understand the flow of data and the flow of money. That's the key. If you understand that, then you just need to be committed to asking why. And what I mean by that is continuing to ask why, because that's going to help you gain knowledge about where you're trying to go. I don't need to understand the ins and outs of everything. If I understand how the money and the data flows, then you come to me with a project request and I can ask you enough questions to understand your vision, what it's going to take to get there, sequence tasks, and deliver on time and on budget. I mean, that's always our goal. Some things can't be you can't see them, right? There's always going to be the unexpected, but really it's just, I can't remember who it was, but it's like the 5 whys, right? Why do you need this? Okay, why? But why? But why? And eventually you get to the root of what you're really trying to get.
No, that's cool. And I think you touched on the question I highlighted. Do you got any specific websites or resources? Because I know you got to do continuing ed. Is there anything specific you
Yeah,
use?
those two, projectmanagement.com, which is now a part, and I don't know if it's a standalone anymore, but it's certainly embedded for CEU reporting. You can actually get those free courses with when you log into PMI, and then
Okay.
LinkedIn Learning. But I go beyond that. I'm always listening to TED Talks. I'm staying hydrated. I'm working out. I'm doing everything I can to be the best version of me, because if I take care of me, then I can take care of others. And it takes a lot of energy to manage projects, to even show up and perform,
Oh my God.
to negotiate. I have to be in my best mental space
Mhm.
to be able to be in rooms with challenging people and diffuse and not escalate,
Yeah.
right? So
And and I
it's
tell
it's
my
big
yeah.
in project management. But yeah,
And
those
I,
are the resources I used.
Yeah, I tell people too is, and I'm decent at when you go in there a lot of times, especially she's a major player, and if it's a security, my name came up. Everybody looks at you. You got to be on. Everybody wants answers. Everybody wants you to be confident. You might say, "Let me get back with you," but a lot of times people going to challenge you technology wise to make sure they understand and you understand. Somebody might not like your technique or procedure, so you got to
Mhm.
defend it and validate it, not take it personal, even though I sometimes do take it personal. But you got to be able to, man's job is to diffuse me, but you got to be on, right? And
Mhm.
that takes a lot of energy sometimes, especially when I go on the road. Shout out, Jeff's coming on. I'm like, oh my God, I got to deal with Jeff today. Or Big Jan's on one. He's coming on my show. Big Jan or Kevin, Kevin
Yeah.
always like, give me a theme. I'm like, what do you mean theme? So, but you got to explain it to him because he's a
I can
CI.
hear his voice
Yeah,
saying that.
he's the CIO. I got to give them the in-depth things of the risk of security.
Mhm.
So I got to be able to explain that to him so he can understand that part and make a decision on it. Right. If he doesn't
Mhm.
understand it, that's on me. I got to make sure he understands what the security trade-offs, things and pluses and minuses, right? So he can make a decision from a C-suite level, or even the commissioner, which is the president of the organization, sometimes gets in there depending on what level it is. So I got to be on to be able to explain that. I'm gonna have Jeff on. He's a cool guy. I
Yeah,
ain't need no.
you're absolutely right. Our job is to make sure that they make informed decisions.
Yeah,
Here's the data. What does the data tell
right,
you? How big is your sample, right? What outliers exist? All
mhm,
of those things are important. I'm a big data person, so
right,
that's everything. Here's the data. I can come to you and give you my opinion, which
facts.
if we have a trusted relationship, you want.
Mhm.
But before that, I'm coming to you with the data. This is the story of how we got here, what's at risk, what potential outcomes could occur, and yeah, we got to bring the information, the data.
No, facts. And I tell people that's when you get into management and senior level, right? Because it's funny because we've been in there with the president, the commissioner, the
Legislative.
CIO, all those
Mhm.
guys are in there. You got to present, right?
That's
And
right.
everybody's, and if they don't understand you, they will let you know. So you got to be on
Yeah.
point, right? Two and two is you got to bring it down to a business level, right? I love technology, but after a while, is man, that's just a name on the list. How much is gonna cost me? Will it shut us down? Can
That's
we
right.
defer it? Right? They just want to know a couple things so they can make a business decision.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I have
That's
here.
exactly right. Love that.
So, what's your thought? I mean, we've been in the room together. I mean, I'm just. What's your thought on security? I know. What's your personal thought? I know we've been in rooms together. I always talk about security and compliance at a federal level. What's no thoughts on security? They
Oh,
want you to get your YouTube channel up, Amanda. We looking for you.
yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm out there. Amanda Lee. I might have my middle initial out there, which would be K, but that's probably security risk that I disclosed that, by the way.
No, it's
Um,
fine.
but I the question really reminds me of that meme that says like choose your hard, right?
Oh,
Choose your hard.
facts.
Do you want your data exposed and to um you have to gain your customers trust back, or do you want to be limited in the business in your business functionality that you want to offer? So choose your hard, man. Like that's what you're faced with. It's a balance for
Right.
sure because
Right. Right.
you have to deliver to stakeholders, shareholders, um, but you also have to keep keep your customers' information safe, and that's critical.
Here's a question though that my audience is picking on me. Do technical resources like PBO give you a hard time? Is it sometimes challenging to show your value to technical resources?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. For me, technical resources normally expect project managers to know nothing. So if you
Facts.
have experience and you can
Facts.
show up and talk about, IP addresses and firewalls and ports and
Right.
spinning up servers and all the things it takes, that should be considered managing POAMs, then it's you can gain that respect pretty easily.
No,
But it's
facts.
always, I think technical resources are always surprised because they're when a PM has technical skills because they're used to a checklist PM, right? Somebody who says, okay, where's my project team? Okay, we got a test. What are we trying to do here? Okay, does that exist? All right. But no, I want to look through that. Show me your documentation. Let's have a thoughtful conversation about what you're delivering and make sure that we're delivering quality products.
Yeah, shout out to Amanda. She's one of the better project managers. Like you said, a lot of project managers have technical lists. And we were talking about this. I tell them what I do, then they tell me to hurry up. That pisses PBO off. Right? So PBO could be very difficult if you do that. What do you do? They write down 20 lines and they come back and say, well, you said a month. Can you be done in 2 weeks? Hey, I gave you the timeline. Why are you coming back? I'm talking about PBO in the third person now, like I'm an athlete.
You're right. I'm
PBO
with
does
you.
not like that. So he could be
Mhm.
very difficult if you think he's nitpicking, right? But
Yeah, I don't, but to go back to that question, I don't get too hard of a time because I do try to, serve my purpose. I try to
mhm,
connect and be authentic and I have been around the block and beat up a few times and I have experience so I can come to the table pretty quickly and navigate and partner. Look, I don't know everything and I've certainly fallen on my face and it's scarred and have gray hairs and everything, but my commitment to stand back up is solid. Bet on me every time. And you should too. You
yeah,
have to
right.
be the one to bet on yourself every single time.
And two is Amanda's good about she's excellent about that personality. So there's about I'm one of them, but I'm probably in the middle. There's probably three or four big personalities on those teams, and when they clash, it could be really
It is
interesting.
like the fall of the giants.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you say there's a few giant, and that's any project. A lot of times, I'm usually
absolutely.
in the mix. I'm usually whispering in a giant. I wouldn't consider my class in that giant. I'm usually in his ear.
Maybe not physically, but
Yeah,
yeah.
whispering in his ear. But yeah, just like talk about that a little more. And I'm gonna have both of them on my show when Big Jan and Jeff clash a little bit sometime. That'd be real powerful. The rooms get super quiet. So what's your top? I see your technique. Sometimes you like, okay, let them battle a little bit, then I got to slide in there and break them up,
Mhm.
or let's get back to the domain of business. How do you handle those big personalities? I would say I'm in the 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 middle part of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I've experienced a few of those scenarios. Um, there's a couple ways to handle that. One is you try to take control of your meeting. And that's why it's
Oh,
important as a
facts.
PM to be a strong facilitator because
Facts.
you should be commanding the room. Everyone should
Facts.
know why they're there. No time is wasted and you meet your objective of every meeting so you can keep traction. Time is money, right? And I
Mhm.
hate saying that, but it's just true.
No,
Um,
facts. Facts.
but the other thing is sometimes you cannot take back control of your meeting. You
I've
have
been
like
there.
there's just scenarios. I mean, I don't wear a cape. There are times where I cannot take back control if with some strong personalities. So you have to let the dust settle, let emotions calm down, kind of let a day pass, let everybody sleep on it, and come back to the table and say, okay, here's what I took from your conversation. These are the items that you're passionate about. I wouldn't use the word passionate because I'm trying to diffuse emotion, right? Um, but these are the factors for consideration because you have to be very diplomatic that I heard that security spoke to. Here's the technical limitations. Here's the technical limitations that the infrastructure architect is talking through.
Facts. Facts.
What's the most important thing at the end of the day? What are we trying to do here? And so you
Right.
bring it all back to business value, business case.
Right. Right.
What's our objective? Because you can get lost in that. A lot of those conversations where people duke it out are philosophical. I
Oh,
mean,
most of them are. Most of them are.
huge. And okay, that's not the problem we're trying to solve today. I mean, I've said that many times.
Facts. I've been in there when you said
Yeah,
it. Facts.
that is not our problem that we're trying to solve today. Let's refocus on this item. And then that big, like, kind of volcano makes what I'm asking for very small,
No,
right?
facts.
Because
Facts.
you
Facts.
just went philosophical. I just
Mhm.
need one answer. And,
Facts.
I just
Facts.
need one answer. Give me an answer. I need the right answer so I can move this project forward.
Okay, let me level set a little bit. That was excellent thing is sometimes security and the technical architecture or the CIO of a certain business has two different things they want to do. Security
Mhm.
might think it's a violation. They think we might be doing too much security. Sometimes it get real personal. So sometimes, and I'm gonna add this to it, man. We all have to go to the CIO and go see the big dogs to let him make a decision because a lot of times they're at the same level and they won't relent. We got to go in front of CIO. I usually go in there. They put me at the little boys table, but I'm in the room, so I've seen it escalate. We all got to go to CIO because everybody's at a certain level. If they don't want to relent, we can't agree, man. They can't get it. The
Mhm.
CIO has to make a decision, right? At
That's
the end of
right.
the day. Is it
That's
the
right.
security? Is it the money? Is it the PM? Is it the technique? Is it the time? Sometimes you got to go see the big dog. So I've been in the CIO's office a number of times. So
Yep, sometimes you don't get the answer. They have to go and have additional conversations, and then you're told what the decision is, and
we
that's
gotta go
fine
to
too.
principal's office.
As long as I can be heard.
Facts. We gotta go to principal's office. That's how I feel.
That's
Sometimes
right.
we
Yeah, sometimes the principal has to be brought in. That's okay, they have a rule too.
Yeah, it's all good, but sometimes the PM and this goes to the highest level and then they make a decision, right? And
Right, that's
sometimes
right.
it's obvious where it's a money thing or security, we got to do this before this compliance, and we can't roll out. But sometimes they just got to make a business decision. And the cool thing, as I get older, just make it. I don't care. When I was wild, I was like, it's got to be my way or the highway, right? People hold on to that dogma
Mhm.
stuff. So as I get old, I let that go. But no, I'd be taking it personal. Let's see, Michael Johnson in there. What would be the best way to improve documentation? From a technical point is, especially me, I don't like documentation. It would be best if I would do some.
That
What's
it
your take on?
exists, right? Let's start
Yeah,
with that it exists.
hold on. Let me chime in. This and I'm arrogant. I'm too big to do documentation, Michael. My design is so crisp. I don't need documentation. That's how good I am, Michael. Go ahead, Amanda. What's your thing?
Well, and I would challenge you with business continuity and disaster
Facts,
recovery
facts,
plans,
facts,
right? Like
facts.
your design can be great, but um, the world ends, the unexpected happens, even with like COVID, who saw that? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you need that documentation. I think Kevin actually used to say, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow, or
Always,
if I
always.
win the lottery, I'm going to Sizzler. I don't know, one of
Facts,
those things that he would
facts.
say, but you
Yeah.
need documentation. So improved documentation, it exists. Check.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Um, Organized and specific. That's the thing. You have to remember when you're documenting something that somebody else is reading it with their own mind, right? Their own
Mm-hmm.
lens, their own experience. And so you really have to be explicit and leave nothing left to interpretation. That's what I would consider good quality documentation.
Now, what we did actually, and no, Style, stop trying to fire me. I see you, Style Docs. What we did is, and at DOD is, and I actually disrespect him a little bit. They hired a documentation specialist because we were so poor at it. And we had two, and then once I gave him my documentation, he actually wrote it up. I figured out I suck at documentation. We need to keep this guy forever. Take some of my money and give him my money because, like you said, and two, a lot of technical people we did the design so our document's gonna be limited because as we doing the documentation, I'm reading stuff in there because I wrote the program, right? So we
Mhm.
actually hired a documentation specialist. It was the best thing we did at DOD. And two is we just kind of talked to him a little bit, kind of give him a couple cliff notes, and he wrote beautiful documentation. So if you're serious about it, Michael, I think if you can afford it, you need to get those people out there just specialize in documentation. He was this Berkeley guy kind of out there, but his documentation was clear, crisp, and concise. I'm muttering around. I drove around the block with my documentation, came back, backed up over it. So if you're serious about it, I think you need to hire somebody that specializes in that. And if you look, when I was at DOD, because we were doing big apps and we needed documentation, we're in this, like she said, we have the disaster recovery. And part of this is you got to have manuals to tell people how to do basic stuff. So we
Right.
actually got a documentation specialist, Michael Johnson, to actually take that more seriously, to be honest. Because once I saw a real documentation person do real documentation, I was like, yeah, I ain't been doing that for the last decade. I don't know what the hell I was writing, but so, what are your goals for 2022 that's winding down personally and professionally? I guess we go
What
professionally. We don't have to get personal. Professionally, what are your goals?
I mean, I'll share. I don't know. I've been on this fitness journey for about 7 months now, and I
Okay.
did 40 burpees this morning.
Shout out to you.
Um, huh?
I said, shout out to you.
Yeah, I know, and I couldn't do a burpee like 7 months ago. So let me tell
I
you how
got
impressive that is if you know me in real life.
I
Um,
know you in real life. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. You do know me in real life. So that's good. I just want to be a better version of me. And so professionally, I'm working on certification for this is the CPHI, it's CPIMS or whatever, however you pronounce it. But it's health information health information. I may have to read it to you. Yep. Health Information Management System Society, new to healthcare, a year in. And I think I'm going to try for that. I submitted a proposal to speak at the HIMSS conference. So I'm waiting to hear back about that. So those are my professional goals. No, I don't like to tie myself to a title. That's a box. And so, I like to just make sure that I'm aligned to my purpose and I'm using my skills and talents to the best of my ability. So, I'm on a journey always. I said I listen to TED Talks, I listen to them all the time. That you got to be careful about what you take in. So, anything I can do to stay focused and positive and push forward and continue believing in me, right, and what I'm bringing to the table, that's what I'm focused on. And then because I do those things, I can help. I want to serve and just deliver value and really just serve my purpose here. Life is short, so that's my focus.
No, that's cool. Well, I think we touched a little bit on this. Struggle security. What's the typical career path for project management in a tech organization?
Mhm.
You usually worked on the business side and not the tech side. So you got any input on that? I always thought it was a BA to project management, but I think I was a little off on that. So
Yeah,
what you think is the progression of that?
it can be either. I've done both. I've worked a lot of infrastructure projects. I worked for IoT for a while, the
Mhm.
state infrastructure backbone. Stood up for new replacement systems. I think it is what you make of it, right? So best thing you can do, serve on a project team, move into a PM1 role.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to attend TEDx
Oh,
events.
don't be reading. Answer the question. You jump in. Get back on the question.
I told you I take over. It's a part of being a facilitator, man.
Facts,
Um,
facts.
but for real, you would go that would be the stepping stone, the transition. And then here's the thing, because I think being a project manager is the best job out there, because you get to ask questions about
Oh, fine.
anything,
Yeah, yeah,
because your job is to understand and
yeah, yeah.
plan. So I'm in
Mhm.
healthcare now, right? Some of my projects are about cardiac procedures, building out surgery rooms,
Oh,
full
wow.
system upgrades. Like, the work I'm doing creates so much value in the world. Very passionate about it. But because of that experience in whatever organization you're in, you could transition into an IT position, you could transition into a business position. It sets you up to gain the knowledge you need, and also you get so much exposure to the personalities of the partners that you're working with. Like, you're really set up in a strong capacity to move in whatever direction you want. I think a PM, I mean, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of the role. But I think it's an incredible job, and I'm so thankful that I found it, or it found me. I don't know.
Okay. And Struck Security, you said he's doing TEDx in Detroit. He said check us if one in our hell. You could have did the one in Detroit. That's close in Indiana. So he said they are amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I work remote, so I like to stay at home, but I would travel for a TEDx event for sure.
okay, okay. So he said check us if one's local. I
That's a
I
great
talked
idea.
at the local cybersecurity Central Indiana cybersecurity. So it was a little different. So
Mhm.
it was a cool thing though. We did it. It was on by Zoom, but like you said, doing your talk in front of big rooms, which I mean you do that all the time. I've never talked in front of 200 or 300 people. I've talked in front of 50 or 60 main lobby a couple of times, but um, I'm sure you would do great at it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I, and I think
that's cool. We'll
I
see.
yeah, I think you talked about this. What is your future number one job? You want to be director of PMO one day,
Well,
president
I
of PMI
was.
Society or something? What you shooting
Hmm.
for? What
That's a good
what you shooting?
option.
What
I've
you
been a
shooting?
PMO director. I do it again. I love to connect with teams and lay out strategy and pull it apart. Um, I do that again. I don't know. We'll see where
Oh
this
wow.
path takes me. Like I said, the I'm on this realization that the only limits you have are the ones you put on yourself. So I'm not going to put any limits on myself. I'm just going to see if I keep showing up to the table, if I should keep delivering value and being my most authentic self, and solving problems. I'm just going to see where this path takes me. But it's been a great journey.
That's cool. My man, Struggle Security said he found something at IU for you. But go check it out. It
There you
might be
go. Thank
my
you.
my audience is super technical and they always about solving problems.
I see
So
that.
so, so
Impressive.
we're so we're always on top of that. So I think I know which one. Shout out to millennials, especially Tiny. Do you want to work on premises, 100% remote or hybrid? The millennials were gonna plant their flag. They're never coming back to the office. So shout out to Tidy, what I see. So what's your thing? I was saying hybrid, but now I've been home so long. I'm like the millennials. I don't think I'm ever going back. What's your thought pattern on that?
Yeah, I mean, working remote took me out of the rat race. I went from a culture of rush to work, rush to pick up kids, rush to practice, rush home. Everyone has to eat dinner. Okay, it's bedtime already. It's been life-changing. I hit a boot camp, high intensity workout every morning, like 6 days a week. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't work remote. I volunteered for more things for my daughter at school. I make every practice, every game, and I'm a better person. I'm a better human being. I do like to go on site every once in a while just to get that, hey, that's what you look like in person, oh, your team circle. But seriously, you can connect remotely. Like, don't limit yourself. It can be done. I think I just live a better life working remote. I'm not going to say I wouldn't ever go back, because if I found something I was really passionate about, like, I would show up for that, but it would be a choice for sure. And I heard actually today that the unemployment rate for technology in Indiana is 0%.
Yeah,
So everyone is employed. I mean, within, reason. However, whatever those variables are in the data, I don't know, but 0% unemployment rate. So, if you go remote, you're risking losing resources. And it doesn't work maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. And my teams are very effective. The organization I work for is hybrid, but primarily remote. And we're very effective. We do great work, and we are engaged, and we do fun things. I'm on an engagement team, and we schedule fun things remotely too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. Remote with maybe 4 times a year in-person meetup. I can handle that.
So this one, who gave this to him? I think I forgot who. I love this question. The last one. How much of your income do you reinvest back into yourself? I remember somebody asked me that question, and I was like, I never thought about it. But
yeah, I think that might have been more relevant back in the day as far as money, because there's so many free resources online. Not to date you, sir, but I'm just saying that might be. But here's the thing. I think the real question is, how much time are you reinvesting in yourself?
Facts.
Because there's so much, I don't know. I mean, there's limited time and limited money, right? It's your resources. But I really, I don't know. As far as time, I invest a lot of time back in myself. I've talked about it a few times. Working out, TED Talks, reading, socializing with friends, and but money, not much. I mean, maybe $1,000 a year, and that's just because I want to take a course or a certification or something like that.
No, that's cool. Do you know what? You probably won't. Do you know what overemployment is?
I think I do. I'll tell you, I'll answer the question in the way I think you mean it.
Okay.
So my thesis for grad school was basically something, I should know this, but it's been a long time, something to do with being overqualified and not being able to get in. No, it's not. It's not being overqualified in your position. Okay, just find it for me, and I'll.
You're fine. You're fine. I just learned about it. Shout out to Struggle Security. He did a video. Millennials and young people are actually taking multiple jobs because they can do them remotely.
Oh, yeah, I know people who are doing that.
Yeah, so
I do, and they're doubling their income, and they're managing it, working maybe 1 extra day a week.
Fact. So what's is any of your people doing that, or anybody?
Not anyone that I know personally.
Okay.
I couldn't disclose that.
Yeah. Stop snitching, struggle security. Stop snitching. Now go
I
ahead.
know. No, not anyone I know directly, but I have heard of people doing it, friends of friends, and they're very successful. It's all how you manage your time, right?
Facts, facts,
How
facts,
organized are you? How can you work smart? Things like that. I mean, maybe they're the smart people. They
facts,
might be
facts.
smarter than us.
So what tools do you use? You use Salesforce, ServiceNow. I'm trying to think.
I do
Because
use ServiceNow daily.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
and it's basic. I mean, I don't want to compare tools, but it's similar to Inatos when we use that at our
okay,
organization. Hmm.
okay. I was gonna say, what tools do you have you used, and which ones do you kind of recommend in your daily PM? Because a lot of times, to be honest, I didn't know what tools you sent me the spreadsheet with the task on it, or you send me my task I need to get done. I don't think I knew what tools you actually used, to be honest. Go ahead.
I think SharePoint's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think from that part, but I'm sure
Um,
there's probably other tools you were using. Maybe I wasn't aware of them. But go ahead.
yeah, Inatos is a PPM tool, portfolio management tool. I'm using ServiceNow now. They seem to be very similar. Um, s- Spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets.
Facts.
You
You and
know,
Julie. You and
I
Julie
mean,
would
that
go.
keeps my life right. Look, my Christmas list, or if I'm making a big purchase, goes in a spreadsheet.
Oh
Well,
God.
just so I can do all my research and make sure I'm making
Facts,
the best choice. So,
facts, facts.
but
So
I'm a
yeah,
little
yeah, I
extra.
just never thought about it till Helmet brought up. I'm like, I know she's doing something, but I would just get a spreadsheet or one of them lists inside you just said it. I can't even think of it. Teams,
SharePoint. Oh
SharePoint. I
yeah,
get one of them
Teams.
SharePoint,
Yeah,
yeah, SharePoint list or something. I'd be like, okay, I gotta do this, or here's my list I need to check out before our next meeting. Or you ask me, where you at on this list? Right. I just be like, check, check, check. I'm
right.
behind, Amanda. I need a little more time. That's all I got for you. But
Yeah,
no.
but as a good PM, I have buffer built in, right? So
Of
you can
course.
account for things like that. No one can. I mean, you just never know what each day will bring, right? So you
No,
have
thanks.
to prepare. One way you can do that is by having buffer built into task.
No, facts, facts. And two, like we said, sometime is which sometimes you don't know. I'm getting tasked by other people that's interfering with your task. So I come to you and be like, "Hey, you gotta get with the CIO. I got too many tasks." So
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm well
so
aware that that's happening. Just as soon as I work with someone on a project, do a kickoff, I already know there's other things on your plate.
facts, facts.
It's just that prioritization, it's critical. And that's why having a prioritized project portfolio for an organization is so important because there's so many conflicts or interdependencies, right, that you have
Mm-hmm.
to manage too. So you got to know what's really number one, what's really the top five.
All right, now I come to you for that one. What you want, Amanda? You got to tell me. But
Yep.
shout out to
I'll tell you all day long. It's what I'm asking for. That's what I need.
facts, facts, facts. So shout out to Hillman always with the classes, Service Now Fundamental course. It's free to October 22nd. He put the link in there if y'all want to get some of them new skills. Most places I know Service Now is a little pricey, so I know a lot of mostly big companies have
Mm.
Service Now. When you come down a little bit, they pick a few other things, but no, Service Now is always good, super popular, super hot.
Mhm.
So shoot any more questions. We kind of winding it down. I don't want to take up too much of Miss Amanda's time. She was gracious enough to join PBO. I'm gonna start bringing out some of my ex-colleagues. She's always one LinkedIn away, so
That's
definitely,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
feel free to connect with me and ask any questions. I'm happy to help along the way. And
that's
I do
true.
appreciate that link. I will definitely take a look at that because I need to deepen my ServiceNow knowledge, right?
Okay, okay. You said you always learning something. So
I
see,
am. Yeah,
my audience is built. My audience is on top of it. So
they
no,
are. They're great.
yeah, no. So I was my strong 10 always show up +5. So once again, these are things I'm gonna start doing. She was gracious enough to kick my interview off. I think we tried this a year and a half ago when my setup was garbage. It didn't work. So
I
I
didn't have sound, but I think that happened for a reason because I'm probably delivering a different message today than I would have a year ago.
facts,
So
facts, facts, facts.
there
So
you
yeah,
go.
she's in there. We always talk about things you can get in IT was not super technical, but super paid, super needy. PBO needs somebody to keep him in line, man. I be getting easily distracted some days. Sometimes in the third person, PBO want to work with PBO want to work on, but sometimes it don't work like that. Some days I got to get some stuff done in the big things of life. But two is this is a higher level because we talking about being in meetings with the architect, the CIO, the commissioner, which is the president, right? So we trying to go up the chain. Shout out to Black Hikes, that's what they talking about. Shout out to Struggle Security, he's in that management life. So what these are management kind of interviews, what you need to do to get in there. And two, the interactions. Sometimes it's gonna be nice. And I've seen two dudes about to come to blows in a meeting. So a man's job is to make sure that don't happen.
Well, to make sure we get what we need if it does happen. But to try and diffuse, right? Because I need to keep that relationship solid so we can continue to do business together.
And like I said, that very rarely happens, but sometimes that dogma and sometimes people on the wrong move and sometimes people don't take constructive criticism well. So I've
It's
seen
all
that
in the delivery, right? That's
all in the
critical.
delivery.
Those soft skills are critical. They're very important. It's the difference between you delivering your message and it be heard, or you're talking and I don't care what you say.
And I've seen that a lot. I don't care what you say. We all in the CIO's office. Shout out to that, dog. But I'm wrapping it up. Everybody have a great weekend is coming up. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make this a normal Thursday thing. For some reason, she just reached out to me. She's like, "You interviewing?" I'm like, "I don't know." Well, yeah, let's kick it off. Let's kick off PBO interview. I'm gonna have to redo the thumbnail and give her a thumbnail she deserves. I was a little cheap and quick on what I did, so we're gonna pump up the thumbnails. But we're gonna shut it down. Stay on real quick, Amanda. I'm gonna shut it down. Everybody have a nice weekend, and I'm sure I'll see you in these cybersecurity streets. And we all know Amanda's always invited to the picnic. We're gonna shut it on down.